a social commentary talk show that addresses the state of affairs on Nevis. Expect great conversations, different perspectives, and an all-inclusive approach to moving Nevis forward. Tune in. It's time for us to speak up.
April 28th. Good evening. Today is Thursday, April 28th, and I am Jaedee Caines. And as usual, Rohan Isles and I are here for another edition of Speak Up on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan Radio. Speak Up airs every Thursday night from 6:30 to 7 p.m. You can find us on Vaughan Radio 860 AM, 93.7 FM. We're also on social media, Vaughan Radio's Facebook and YouTube pages, as well as on the Facebook page of the Nevis Reformation Party. I'll pause here and go across and say good evening to my colleague Rohan. Rohan, good evening.
Good evening, Jaedee, and good evening to our listeners, our regular listeners, to those who are joining us for the first time. A special good evening to a youngster who met me at the primary yesterday. I hope I have his name correctly. I think it's Hanley from Hamilton. I think it's Kevin Hanley. He told me his name was.
Oh yes, Kevin. Yes, Kevin Hanley.
So, good night to you. I was going to shout you out, and I'm keeping the promise.
Keeping the promise. Yes.
So good night to you. I'm Jaedee. I try to get my voice back. Extend congratulations to perennial Superhouse Charlestown Primary and another splendid performance at Inter Primary. It's good to have Inter Primary back. It is something the division public looks forward to every year. And I want to say thanks to Golf for continuing to believe in our young student athletes and to the other sponsors who have come on board this year. Congratulations to Moorcross Prep, who showed up. As I said, they saw and they conquered, and many didn't expect them to be that good in the B division, but they dethroned 10-time champion Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School, and so that is a commendable feat as well. Congratulations to St. Thomas's Primary and Joycelyn Liebert Primary, who are joined second place from that meet, and to Elizabeth Pemberton, who placed second. To all our student athletes who demonstrated their skill, their talent, and their ability yesterday, we want to thank you for your performances. The performances outweigh the cost that they had to pay, and so it was a treat at that meet. I want to say Jaedee hid from me all day yesterday, save and except when she was certain that she had won, and then she phoned me, but it's all right. I want to say congratulations again to you and to your daughter, who did exceptionally well, and to the support staff of Charlestown Primary. Congratulations. For those who are having difficult moments at this time, as usual, we continue to let you know that you're in our thoughts and our prayers, and continue to hold on to God's unchanging hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, as you can see, I am wearing those online can see that I am wearing an orange mask this evening. I didn't want to make it so obvious. I say, I'll just grab a mask and see if Rohan notices that I'm wearing an orange mask. I'm struggling a bit with my voice, but it's much better now than it was earlier today, giving God thanks. I really want to commend all of our students who participated in yesterday's meet. It was really fantastic. You know why I really enjoyed yesterday's event? Because every single participating school had an opportunity to stand out. Every participating school had an opportunity to shine. It wasn't a situation where only certain schools were in the top 3. No. This time around, every single one of the schools had the opportunity to be front and center, and that is something great, and it's something encouraging, and it's something that the children can use to propel them forward. Like Rohan, we want to congratulate the staff and the students. There are many persons who work behind the scenes to make all of this possible. Sometimes, sadly, all you see are the children collecting their medals, but they are the real stars. And you see the officials giving their speeches, you hear them giving their speeches. But we have people who at NTV, for example, who brought the coverage, live coverage, you know, even though they had to do other things throughout the day, still manage their regular work. So kudos to NTV.
Yep.
We had the technical staff. We had Mr. Garfield Virgo and his team who organized the meet. I mean, there's so many persons that we really should commend. The drivers who took the children to their various destinations. Some of them had to take them to their homes in different places. So we want to commend you guys. Congratulations on a job well done. And it was great to be outside and have something to do. Rohan, as we shift a bit, like you, I want to offer condolences to all who may be mourning at this time. You know, it seems as if, you know, very often we are hearing that someone else is passing and people are mourning. Right now, this Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis is in a state of mourning because we continue to observe the passing of His Excellency Vance Amory, who passed away on what date, Johan? About a week or two ago? No, it was the same day we were supposed to have that event, the drive-through. Yes. So it's been a while. However, I am told that he would be laid to rest on April 30th. Yes, Saturday. It will be April 30th, Saturday. And so that is something that, you know, we expect to garner lots of attention. Persons from all over should be viewing that. And again, NTV would be front and center. I presume covering that. It's going to be a state service, and so parents, I encourage you to have your children tune in even to part of it, yes, just so that they can know what's happening. They're going back to school next week Tuesday. You want them to know what happened over the weekend. Rohan, let's talk. Last week when we were here, we talked a bit about the Charlestown Accord. I'm pausing a bit because, like I said, I'm struggling with my voice. We spoke about the Charleston Accord last week, and since then I've heard other persons in other talk shows talking about the Charleston Accord, and only now people seem to be realizing the need to read the Charleston Accord. They need to understand what exactly forms part of the Charleston Accord. And for those of you who didn't tune in last week, you missed quite a show. But basically, we spent some time telling you what are some of the things that form part of the Charleston Accord. We did the formalities and all of that. But what we really want to go through is what benefits would be there for the island of Nevis. And so one of the things that was mentioned last week is that under the Charleston Accord, Nevis shall receive its fair and equitable share of national resources. And it is said that that is based on a pro rata population basis. And the rationale is to ensure that Nevisians can benefit fairly from the returns on national investments. Rohan, this was done in 2014. In your opinion, December 17th rather, 2014. Can you comment on that one? Where are we in terms of receiving our fair and equitable share of national resources, in your opinion?
I mean, for me, we go back to what is the fair share.
Correct.
We still don't know how much is there, what is the share arrangement. And so it's difficult to say that we have received our fair share. We know we have gotten a rather large portion of monies from that particular arrangement, and we also understood that we have even gotten monies outside of that arrangement, seemingly from the Federal Treasury. And for me, Jaedee, it is not just the idea of receiving it.
Correct.
But how are we using it? What is the intent? Well, not so much the intent, but what is the result of the use of that? Is it fit? Keep using this phrase, fit for purpose. Is it redounding to the benefit of the majority of the population? And can people say that they're feeling the benefits? They're seeing the benefits. They're benefiting from what we have received. And you know, a lot of big words in there. Say a pro rata population base, isn't it? It's simply saying how the population is comprised and making sure that whatever share it is in relation to how the population setup is. And I think it's somewhere around 70-30 they're saying. I know in the past we have had numbers floating around,
Yes.
but it is a lot more than just getting it. You can get it and waste it, and at some point in time, I'm sure I heard the leadership of this government say, squander it if you want to, and that can't be the position. Ultimately, we've been fighting long and hard for FASHI. I don't think any division stands against that position of getting what is duly and rightfully ours. But we must be able to say we have used it positively, we have used it to the benefit of our people.
My thing, if I can jump in here, Rohan, my thing is, I agree with all that you're saying. My thing is, why haven't I heard any of this prior to now? It has been 7 years and I had not heard of any of this prior to now, and that is something that I have an issue with, Rohan. Now, I am not going to stand or sit on any platform and say that the island of Nevis does not deserve to get more from the federal arrangement between St. Kitts and Nevis. I am not going to dispute that. Not at all. I am a division. I am a division first. And so my interest lies in the people of Nevis.
Yep.
And so I have to be a division first. My thing, though, is that I was promised, and many of you were promised, by 3 gentlemen and their supporting team, that they can get us that fair share. They said that they can get us that fair share. 7 years later, we have not received it. But Rohan, let's go on. We were also promised that the revenue from passport processing fees under the Citizenship by Investment program shall be shared equitably with the NIA, again based on a pro rata population basis. So that's the revenue from passport processing fees. Well, I have a very big issue with this, Rohan. You guys sit in a cabinet on a weekly basis, however often they have cabinet meetings, and we are saying that we have not been able to deliver on any of these. How? How is that possible? How is it possible, Foreign Affairs Minister, that you sit in a cabinet, you and your colleagues, one who is Minister of Agriculture for the whole Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, one is Minister of every event, because every event he shows up, take a picture and pretends as if he's the one who put in the work, and we are not we are not reaping the benefits of this arrangement. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to talk frankly about what is happening. Nobody is saying that Nevis does not deserve more. I hear some people arguing, oh, they're fighting for Nevis. Well, you should have fought 2 years ago. We just came out of an election. How is it that in that last election you were telling us, Team Unity, we are united, we are a family? Up to last year, not 2 years ago, last year, you said this to us. And fast forward now, you're telling us something different. Then you were lying to us back then. Because now you're starting to tell us about all these things that went wrong and you weren't in agreement with. Then you should have said it to us. But no, it was okay. It was just enough for you to get our vote, get back into government, and now you want to throw everything out there. No. I have a problem with that, Rohan.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've all seen clips and you've heard in the past questions being asked about the arrangement in relationship, and you know, they have said it is the best. In the past, you've heard it is the best it has ever been. And then you come full circle 2-3 years later and you say, you have never gotten your FASHI. You have never gotten this and you have never gotten that. But for me, I think it is the case of individualism again. I mean, as opposed to what is relevant and important to the people you serve. It is all good and well to say in the federal cabinet, but if you're not bringing any real benefit, any real action to the development in Nevis, then you're really not saying much. But as you say, it was all in the ploy to get the vote, you know, song a good song, and that's it, nothing else.
Number 5, I want to skip to number 5. It says that Team Unity agrees that under a Team Unity government, projects approved by the cabinet of the NIA for the CBI program shall be sanctioned and approved by the federal government without delay.
Team Unity didn't have any problem there.
Without delay.
They had no problem.
Let us ask ourselves,
You see their
who
products.
stand to benefit? Who stand to benefit? Who stand to benefit? I'll continue.
Well, you could also stand to benefit. I want to know where the projects.
Where the projects? Team Unity agrees that under a Team Unity government, the appointment of ambassadors and consuls and other diplomats to represent the people of St. Kitts and Nevis shall only be undertaken after consultation with the Premier of Nevis. Fine. I think that is very fair.
Yeah.
Because if you're going out there to represent St. Kitts and Nevis, the Premier of Nevis ought to have a say.
Yep.
Right? So how is it that the Premier of Nevis, and I believe he had a say, and I think he put some effort into this one, because he was Foreign Affairs Minister, and I have seen some divisions.
The appointments.
Yes. So I will say that this has been done. But how ironic is it that we see certain aspects coming forward, certain elements being held up, but not others, and you only hear about them now? What about this one? Let me see if I can find it. There's one about the number 9. It says that the Team Unity government will offer financial support to the NIA for the commercialization of the geothermal project in Nevis. They went on to say that it will clear the way for jobs for Nevisians and Kittitians, and the development of a wide range of specialized skill sets and a tradable product, bringing millions of dollars in foreign exchange through the distribution of geothermal energy. Now imagine a project that can provide so many jobs to all of us. All of you who are at home right now, not even sure where your next meal will come from. This project could have been the one to have you and your family on a comfortable path, because you would be among those benefiting from millions of dollars in foreign exchange. Can you imagine? And nothing has been done.
You know, boy, I tell you, and that is why I talk about human impact. What is the impact of these projects? And you've clearly laid out that what could have been. You know, so many jobs could have been had. So many development
before COVID.
Development of skills.
Okay.
Before COVID. Millions in foreign exchange before COVID. And before this war in Ukraine. You look at the impact that would have had on fuel.
Okay.
I mean, so these things all good and well in intent, but zero in impact of delivery.
And I'm glad Rohan raised that point, because, ladies and gentlemen, that is something that continues to happen under a CCM administration. They talk a good talk. They promise and they promise and they promise. And notice the promises only come on the eve of an election. However, when they get in there, they do not deliver. They do not deliver. They tell you people matter. They tell you people matter more. But we are yet to see that people really matter. Some people matter. Some people matter.
You're lucky.
But performance has to matter.
Must.
Your performance has to matter. And that has been something that the NRP has been preaching for years. You cannot just be all talk. You have to perform. I mean, it's just like okay, we just spoke about the interplay in the sports season. You can go there and talk, but you can't stand up at the line and talk. You have to actually run the race.
Yep.
And that is what we are seeing. I mean, we on the mark, we get set, but we're not going anywhere. We just on the mark here on the island of Nevis. And don't tell me that you like to hear our premier in the federal, in the national parliament. He sounds good, and you feel good when he's representing us. Yes, he sounds good. I'm not going to dispute that. But what is he bringing back? And meanwhile, while we have them over there, you would think that over here, those who remain at home will get an opportunity to shine, Rohan, and they will say, you know what, I am here, let me stand out. But that's not what is happening on the island of Nevis. It's like when the cats are where the mice play, everybody's sleeping in this government.
Well, when the cat here, they sleeping too, so I guess it's part of the modus operandi. I mean, maybe they're not given the leeway to do that, but my thing is, and this has always been the thing, politics and governance are two different things, and this government
Yes.
has not gotten a clue to this date about governance. And I love to talk about governance, but you can clearly see there is not an iota of how good governance work, how governance work when it comes to this administration. And that is fundamentally why Nevis seems to always be playing catch up under this leadership. Jaedee, you went to 9 and I can go back to 8 though.
Yes.
Because the United States Unity will provide a lump sum payment to the Nevis administration as a goodwill measure and acknowledgement that an injustice was done. Well, how much was the lump sum?
Okay.
When did the lump sum come? Has it come? And these are principles under which the arrangement was signed.
Yes.
And after 7 years, on the eve of a local election, and this is what is interesting to me, on the eve of a local election, all of a sudden they are fundamentally issues that are separate between the partners in unity now.
Yes.
So all the time things good, the best arrangement, you get what you want when you want, but all of a sudden now you have an election where pressure is being placed on you, and there's no doubt that the pressure is being brought to bear because you are failed, and you know you are failed, and people are seeing that you are failed, and now you are trying to find a way to blame somebody and say, well, all of these failures come, well, you started with COVID, was COVID fault, and you lost 2 years, and that didn't fly. And so now unity has hamstruck the development of Nevis. I mean, I don't understand.
Well, Rohan, I'm glad you're speaking about failure, because I want to shift just a little bit and talk about how CCM has failed. CCM through this NIA has failed the people of Nevis. Because, Rohan, in my opinion, one of the ways that they have failed us is by keeping us begging. And I'll tell you what I mean. You don't see salary adjustments in the civil service, but every year you come and you say, I'm giving you a double salary, right? And yes, I'm not saying people shouldn't get a bonus, but let's ask, would you prefer to get $2,000 at the end of the year one time, as opposed to getting a little bit extra on your salary every month? Something that you're sure of? I mean, these are the kind of things that people want. These are the kind of things that people want, but no, there's a strategy to it. And don't tell me it's coming from the federal government, because you don't hear them arguing over here. You don't hear them arguing. Mind you, I'm not saying you shouldn't get a double salary payment, but I'm saying if the choice had to be between getting a double salary and getting a better salary every month, I would think you would want a better salary every month. But this is the plan. This is how we are continuously putting our people in a position of begging. So January morning right down to November, we are there struggling, and we realize, man, you at your last breath, you can't go no more. We give you a little drink of water, and it save you. It keep you holding on a little bit longer. You feel good. You feel so thankful for the little drink of water, because you were dying. You needed that drink of water, so you get the drink of water and you feel so good, and you're excited and you rally behind the person because they give you a drink of water. But you don't realize that from January comes again and you're back in the same position. That is how this government has continued to fail us on the island of Nevis. And you guys, all of us, you listening, viewing, whoever, these are the things that you need to ask yourself. Are you better off now under a CCM administration? Rohan, we were at the month. Go ahead.
The double salary thing, I've always told my colleagues, I never believed in this so-called double salary, the bonus payment. 50. I break it down, and how many months by weeks are in a year? It's not 12, 13. So that extra pay is really yours. You know. So for you to tell me you're getting a bonus, it really shouldn't mean much. And we are overdue a salary review. I mean, it's been a long time. I think the last time was prior to the 2010 elections. We had a salary review in Caines and Rohan, and so you are so right, considering the fact that so many people are calling out and crying out and speaking about out against the increase in cost of living in St. Kitts and Nevis. There's no adjustment to meet those increases. As a matter of fact, they are not just meant to meet any kind of the increases that we are seeing in Nevis over the past 2 years. Increase in fuel, increase in water, increase in waste collection, there's an increase everywhere except where it matters most to the people, their ability to survive.
Well, and yesterday we were at Mondo, and we've been at Mondo for a while because all of the sports meets, majority of them were at Mondo. And imagine, Mondo was built when it was open in 2017?
2017 it was?
Well, a couple of years ago, right? It's been a few years since Mondo started operation.
Yeah.
Okay, probably about 2018 or so. And to this date, we are still in the same situation.
Yeah.
We are still in the same situation. I mean, I'm glad that the persons who rent tents were able to make some money. I'm happy for them. And we could still hire them for other things. But there is no reason that after all of this time, we can't have permanent seating. There is no reason. And listen, don't fool yourself. With the weather, the seating arrangement that's there, that was supposed to be temporary, trust me, they had to put some money into that, you know. They had to inject some money into that, because I realized that for the inter-primary some work was done in comparison to when we had the school sports. So they had to put some money into that, because the stands, I mean, some of them were falling apart. The stuff was falling apart. It's been there, temporary seating. Still don't have proper parking. You know, the bathroom facilities, oh my goodness, we need more bathrooms. We need more bathrooms. I feel when I go to Mondo that I am an athlete, that I have to journey so long to go use the bathroom. It's madness. That's another way that CCM has continued to fail us. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless his soul, but Vance Amri died with the only thing in Nevis bearing his name being a big post office collecting dust. A big post office collecting dust. That cannot be an airport. That cannot be an airport. And it's no disrespect to the people who work there, because I think they do a fine job. But guess what? The policy direction has to come from the top.
Yep.
The policy direction has to come from the top. We have our airport out there bearing the name of His Excellency Vance Amri, Nevis's premier. One of Nevis's premiers. He will be laid to rest this weekend, and he left a big post office collecting dust. That is what we have for the man's memory. Rohan, what say you?
Yeah, but I mean, probably the region's single largest post office.
Correct.
Is in Newcastle, and it is really sad. We can go back to Mondo, and the question continually asks, at $400 million, why isn't the facility finished?
Correct.
And I think we have continually said we go across the Windward Islands, and we know of a stadium that was built individual, completed under $21 million, under $20 million. As a matter of fact, under $15 million. And yet we spent $11 million a year for a track.
Still have a hospital incomplete.
Going on 19 and counting.
Okay. These are the things that's happening on the island of Nevis. Ladies and gentlemen, we finish here at 7, but at 8, we want you to tune into 2020 Vision Radio, because our party's leader, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, will be there. And we also want you to come out in your numbers on May 8th, Mother's Day, for a grand gospel concert over in Brownhill, being put on by Dr. Patricia Bartlett and her team. It's going to be amazing, featuring Bridget Bloucher, a wonderful gospel artist. Continue to follow Rohan Isles on social media. He's on Facebook, as well as Jaedee Caines. We are on social media to stay up to date and connected with all that's happening. We are doing this for you. St. Paul's, I am doing this for you. We have to take back Nevis. Rohan.
Yes, Jaedee, as well as St. George's, of course, you know that I am in your corner, and you know, when we come to service, we come to service in service of people and not ourselves. And so we are continually going to speak up, amplify your voice, and ask you to tell us so that we can tell the rest and make a positive difference going forward, Jaedee.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have for this week. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll be here next Thursday for Speak Up. Good night.
Join Jaedee Caines and Rohan Isles this and every Thursday on the Caribbean's